The first things my friends and family, also even my kids, said when they saw the Clarity 6.2 was, what happened to these woofers? Are they broken? And actually I had to explain that it is a new technology developed by Purify. If you are not familiar with Purify, here's what you need to know. Peter Lindorf, owner of Radiant Acoustics, is a partner and founding member of Purify, the company behind these rather unconventional looking woofers. If that's not keeping all in family, I don't know what is. By the way, a big thanks to Nordic Hi-Fi by sending the speaker to review. And as always, I'm here to share my honest opinion about it. For transparency, it is important to note that I always share if I can keep the product or I have to send it back. You will let everything in descriptions. In this case, I had to send them back. Clarity 6.2 that arrived already broke in, which meant I didn't need to spend weeks running them before starting my review. So unfortunately, I cannot tell if this is a type of speaker that require a long run before give you the full performance. Aesthetically, the Clarity 6.2 has a raw, minimalist look, very Scandinavian in style. It's available in 3 finishes and the cabinet feels exceptionally solid and premium to the touch. Very solid and heavy, one of the heavier bookshelf speakers that I tested up to date. I really love the recessed binding posts which are integrated into the design. It may not have the elegance of a Sonus Faber, but believe me, as soon you will turn it on, your perceptions will change completely. Priced around 4 grand with free worldwide shipping, the value proposition starts to make sense when you consider the cost of a 6.5 Purify woofer, 2 dual Purify passive radiators and AMT tweeter. But not only, we have also a well-designed premium crossover, a solid built cabinet with alu front baffle, all made in Denmark. Of course, there will be always a DIY enthusiast claiming that he can do better for less money, right? But unfortunately, not everyone have the time for that. With a nominal impedance of 4 ohm and a sensitivity of just 85 dB, Radiant Acoustics recommends an amplifier with at least 100 watt. However, I don't fully agree with these since I really didn't find them hard to drive, as we will see later. For my setup source, I used my trusty Eversolo A6 that a few weeks ago randomly connected to other users. I was surprisingly seeing playlists that were not mine. As for DEC, I went all-in-one quality, using my reference SPL Diamond. If you missed my review on it, I highly recommend checking it out. A true masterpiece of a product. As amplifications to drive the Clarity 6.2, I choose the NAD C399 because it's powerful, absolutely neutral and capable of driving any speaker without altering its character. And with this setup, the Clarity 6.2 was delivering an great and huge soundstage with an incredible sense of scale. Integrating them into my rooms was effortless, and I preferred them facing straight without any toe-in. And really, once positioned, I made no further adjustment. They seems to me remarkably easy to place in my room. The first thing that struck me was how beautiful, how great every track, every kind of music genre was sounded. Phenomenal. With most of speaker you find yourself, oh, this track is too bright, this track is lacking of bass, and this track has some sibilance, but not with the Clarity 6.2. Everything was so engaging and captivating at low volumes, but even at higher volume. At low volumes, the bass remained warm, clean and full-bodied, giving music depth and making them surprisingly expressive even at gentle listening levels. But turning up the volume and the bass hit you viscerally, delivering chest-punching impact. Even the sub-bass extensions is astonishing. Every infrasonic note was not just present but tight, defined and controlled, making the Clarity a 6.2 a speaker that really eliminates the need of a subwoofer.
At my signal, unleash hell.
Clarity 6.2 that delivers also a fatigue-free listening experience with an explosive and distortion-free top end, a smooth and natural mid-range, and an exceptional well-balanced bass that has speed, power and definitions, and first of all never feel disattached. The speakers disappears into the room, creating an holographic soundstage with excellent transparency, depth and pinpoint imaging, while vocals remain warm yet highly accurate, free from sibilance at all. It handles complex dynamics effortlessly, making it really hard to find a weakness in this performance. I took some Room EQ Wizard basic measures, guys, I do just basic things just to understand if what I'm hearing is in line with what I see. Don't be surprised to see some bass emphasis around 35 Hz. This is coming from my room. Actually, probably all of us has something like that. Comparing no to in versus full to in, I observed a noticeable rise in the top end above 3 kHz, reaching plus 5 dB over 10 kHz with full to in. As mentioned, I prefer the speaker facing toward no to in at all, but feel free to experiment. Sub-bass extensions is excellent, while mid-bass is warm and slightly emphasized, making it a great match for neutral amplifiers that need some extra weight in the low end. You know, guys, that I always like to compare speakers side by side, and I would love to test the Clarity 6.2 against the new Buchart E50, giving their similar price and performance category. However, I can say that my reference bookshelf speaker, the S400 MK2 from Buchart, held its grounds despite its less price. And since I have also the Sonos Faber Sonetto 2G2 in for review, I include it in the comparisons as well. A quick glance at their frequency response shows that both Buchart and Radiant Acoustic extend deeper in the sub-bass, while the Sonos Faber maintains a more neutral low end and a more open, airy top end. Subjective impressions are that Sonetto 2G2 on certain tracks felt slightly lacking in bass, delivering a more analytical, less impactful and somewhat detached presentations. Not necessarily worse, but different. But the Clarity 6.2 come across a more complete speaker. At first glance, these side-by-side comparisons might seem not fair, but actually highlighted interesting differences. The Sonetto 2G2 soft dome tweeter presented instruments like trumpets and violins with a raw textured quality, even when paired with more affordable amplifiers. Meanwhile, the Clarity 6.2 leans toward a more smooth and warm presentation, something I wouldn't have expected. Compared to Buchart S400 MK2, actually I found the Clarity 6.2 much easier to drive. S400 MK2 on the other hand proved to be more amp dependent. Among all the amplifiers I have at home, it only truly shines with the name SuperNate 3, delivering an unforgettable listening experience. If you want to know more about the SuperNate, check just the review that we just released. That is open up to the system comparisons, right? So Clarity 6.2 with NAD C399 and then Buchart S400 MK2 with SuperNate 3. That, yeah, we can say that are almost closer in price range, right? These two hi-fi systems. And choosing between the two setup is tough call. The Clarity 6.2 felt more transparent in the hikes and slightly more dynamic in both bass and treble, while the Buchart soft dome tweeter had a more raw, realistic character. Perfect for jazz lovers like me. Cymbals sounded more delicate, trumpets had a rougher texture, and saxophones felt more airy compared to the smoother, warmer Clarity 6.2. For larger rooms, I will probably go with the Clarity 6.2, where on mediums room I will go with the Buchart. Simply because the clarity on larger rooms, especially when it's come to delivering high volumes, is really truly remarkable. Also taking a quick look of measures, distortion measures at different volumes levels, up to 85-90 dB, the Clarity 6.2 is incredibly clean. Up to date, every bookshelf speaker that I measured around 85-90 dB was already complaining on the top end and mid-range, but not the Clarity 6.2. Crazy. I didn't just test the Clarity 6.2 with the NAD C399, but also with different amplifiers, including the Musical Fidelity A1, Class A solid state, and my Master Sound 220 tube amps. The A1 deliver only 25 watts in 4 ohms if I'm not wrong, but has a truly great current capability, while the Master Sound runs at just 10 watt in trial mode. And surprisingly, both amplifiers drove the Clarity 6.2 without any problem, delivering a dynamic and sometimes even explosive performance. Especially the A1's neutral bass response made for an excellent pairing. A great pleasure for the ears. I really enjoy also this setup. Pair it with higher end setups like Macintosh MC312, the Clarity 6.2 revealed even more nuance in vocals and instruments, proving that it is a speaker that can scale well, whether you invest in a mid-tier or high-end amplifier. It's really hard to find a weakness in the Clarity 6.2. I don't quite understand why they recommend at least 100 watt amplifier, as I had no trouble pairing them with low wattage amplifiers, especially for the bass performance that is yes emphasized and sounds really good at lower volumes. What I love is that every track, every music genre sounds fantastic, reminding me when I was a kid playing with my Uncle DIY stereo, that it has this sort of equalizer, sort of boosting, and by pushing the on buttons, suddenly everything just come alive. That said, I would have preferred a more elegant design. I'm not a huge fan of purified woofers aesthetics, and magnetic grills would have been a nice addition. In the end, if you are looking for a compact speaker, of course not a freestanding, something more bookshelf size that sounds really big even in bigger rooms, without requiring an expensive amplifier or setup, the Clarity 6.2 is an easy recommendation. This is a speaker where you can invest more in the speaker itself and worry less to spending a fortunes in amplifications and source. From Med Audio is everything. I hope you guys enjoy the video. Let me know your experience with the Clarity 6.2, what you think about it, if you never hear it or never saw it, and see you soon.